Hey, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, Queens. This is your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, YouTuber, creator, host with the most, misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable, independent podcaster, and of course, Queens, New York native, and a New York Mets fan as well. And you are now rocking, listening, streaming, and watching the 76th episode of the Sports Edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. The space we talk about things in sports like football, basketball, baseball, and everything else in between. Yes, I know, long time no see. I do want to explain something about that in a sec, but in the meantime, let me remind y'all to go grab that subscribe button for me on the sports YouTube channel page of the podcast. So be sure to click the like button, and of course, and of course, tap the subscribe button, and also enable alerts so you'll be reminded on when each episode will be recording via live on the air. And of course, you can listen, stream, and watch episodes on every streaming platform wherever you get your podcasts. And let me explain what's going on what's going on with me for the past couple of days. Actually, what happened was there was an issue with a Android tablet that I normally use to do my Instagram live feeds. I'm not able to do that right now because I keep getting the same notice of of my Amazon account being no Amazon Prime account being canceled or whatever the case scenario may be. But then again, when I took a look at it, it made me realize that this is one of those scams that I see all the time. So for anyone out there that's like for anyone that's out there that's been receiving text messages or random phone calls or whatever the case scenario may be, the as far as like random orders or whatever that you didn't order or whatever, do not click on the link in the text message. All right, delete it right away so you don't get ripped off out of your hard-earned money from your checking and savings account. All right, so this is a little lesson right there. So until I get me a new Android tablet, I'm not going to be able to do the Instagram live feed at the moment. However, I will try to do a little recap of this episode and upcoming episodes um, when I get a chance. All right. So, um, without further ado, now that I got that out the way, and also to address what's going on with me is the fact that I'm kind of broken up about a particular job that I'm at right now to actually start looking for another one. I already applied to 12 jobs already, but two of them probably rejected me already. So um so yeah, I'm kind of broken up that I'm about to get laid off. So that's pretty much what that is. It's about the my store that I'm working at right now, Big Lots, is about to be out of commission due to money loss and everything else in between. So that's pretty much what's been going on with me. So there you have it right there. All right. Now that I got that out the way, man, we got a rumor in the air that we need to talk about here, man. And I've been holding this for quite some time. So what do you say we start off with rumor alerts in the air, shall we? Involving David Stearns, who is basically thinking of some pitchers and other athletes and with the trade deadline being around the corner. So we'll get to it in a sec, and what to expect actually, what to expect behind it. So man. So just give me a second. All right. There it is. There it is. There it is. All right. Let's get into the rumor in the air, shall we? All right. Starting with the whole thing with David Stearns. I will get to what to expect behind the trade deadline. Since it's on a Tuesday, I actually cover that in a sec, but hang on a second here. Don't know what's going on here. All right, so we got some rumor alerts in the air involving trades. So let's get into it right here. And this is coming from the AMNY website here. Here's what's happening here. So according to this article, David Stearns pulled the trigger on a deal for a reliever to help out the New York Mets ailing bullpen nearly 3 weeks before Major League Baseball's July 30th trade deadline, which is Tuesday coming up. But that is not going to be a precursor to how the team navigates the market in the coming weeks. In fact, the Mets president of baseball operations is not sure which direction his team is going to take ahead of the trade deadline, given their standing. We're in a, and he says, in quote, we're in a spot where winning 3 in a row changes things in a significant direction, and losing 3 in a row changes things in a significant direction. Stearns said, "It's one of the reasons we are going to be patient." Entering Wednesday night's matchup with the Washington Nationals, New York sat at 545 45 wins, 45 losses, and just 1.5 games out of the third and final wild card spot in the National League. While there are 5 teams within 3.5 games of that last spot. Currently owned by the San Diego Padres, there are no other teams outside of a playoff spot currently sitting above the Mets. Should the Mets clear the 500 mark and stay in the postseason conversation, Stearns could realistically add on a few more pieces. However, a blockbuster move appears unrealistic considering the organization prioritizes developing its young talent rather than trading it away for potential rentals. It is why Stearns had a muted offseason compared to the previous 2 winters when the Mets were the biggest spenders in baseball, much the char- to the chagrin of the rest of the league. If the Mets were to sag, though, expiring contracts could be dealt to pivot the team's sights to 2025 fully. We're going to continue to learn about our team over the coming weeks, Stearns began. We'll take that opportunity to see what a full trade deadline strategy looks like. All right, so Let me see. Let me see. I want to actually talk about what to expect from the trade deadline. Give me 1 second here. All right. What are things to expect from the trade deadline? Okay. Um, all right. Let's see what to expect. Hang on a minute. Um, Hold on. Okay. There's still more things to cover. Okay, so this is from USA Today. We have been talking about this day for months. Damn it. Hold on. Yeah, we have devoted so many TV, radio, and podcast hours, and even more written words on something that is often dreadfully boring, and mercifully, it's finally here. It's Major League Baseball's 2024 trade deadline, which is officially set for 6 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, July 30th, which is coming up. We will know once and for all what teams truly believe they have a chance, what teams are bowing out, and what teams remain so confused they don't do a dang thing. And of course, okay, you can follow every MLB game, latest MLB scores, stats, schedules, and standings. It's been a roller coaster ride of rumors and speculation over the past few months, but when the smoke clears Tuesday, everyone could be left wondering why the baseball world gets so worked up over so little drama. Let's be honest, there's no Justin Verlander or Juan Soto in this trade market. But if you really want to work yourself into a lather over where Eric Fetty or Isaac Paredes will be playing next, hey, feel free. I think the trade deadline stinks. Cleveland Guardians manager Stephen Vogt told reporters, "It does. You are either losing people you love or you are gaining somebody that you don't know, and it can be scary for people. Let's look at just what let's look at just what has shaped this trade deadline. With one of the best sellers markets in the past 40 years, and we can expect in the next 72 hours. So, number one, Garrett Crochet, Chicago White Sox. Persons familiar with Crochet stinking informed USA Today Sports last month that if he's traded, he would like to have a contract extension since he's only earning $800,000 and under control through just 2026. Hmm. Wow. 2026. That's like a year away from here, folks, for those of you who may not know. Um So okay. Um Hold on one moment. Waiting for this tablet to load. Sorry. Yes, yes. Let's keep going here. Well, get rid of this shit. Well, now that the trade deadline is around the corner, Crochet's camp started spreading the word that not only does Crochet want an extension if he's traded, but won't pitch in the postseason if he doesn't get an extension. You can imagine the White Sox's rage considering they had not been informed of that demand until it became public. Teams who wanted to trade for Crochet, 6-7, 3.07 ERA, 157 strikeouts in 111 innings, and use him as a hybrid starter and reliever now are having second thoughts whether they should bother acquiring him if he's going to shut it down. Still, teams like the Dodgers remain unfazed, badly coveting Crochet and wonder if it's nothing more than a negotiating ploy. Shit. Come on. Do you really think Crochet is going to walk into the Dodgers clubhouse, look into their eyes of Clayton Kershaw, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman and say, sorry, boys, I'm sitting this one out. I'll leave my address for my postseason share. And if you win the World Series, here's my ring size. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. No one is asking him to be CC Sabathia, who pinched on 3 days rest, who pitched on 3 days rest in four consecutive starts in September 2008, when the Milwaukee Brewers acquired him as a rental in his free agent year. While it's understandable that Crochet wants to protect his arm, the team acquiring him will want to be cautious with him too, knowing he's under control for 2 more years. While Crochet, who has pitched twice as many innings, um, you have 111 and 1/3 innings than his entire career combined, may still be the number one prize on the pitcher's market. His value has taken a hit. Number two, Mason Miller of the Oakland Athletics. So Miller most likely wasn't going to be traded anyways, not with that golden arm and 5 more years of control. Still, the A's were listening to offers just in case someone blew them away. Those calls ended Thursday when Miller, their all-star closer, was placed on a 15-day injured list after slamming his left hand on the trainer's table and breaking his pinky. Damn. Damn, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt though, man. Like shit. That's gotta fucking hurt big time. That's gotta hurt big time. Um damn. Oh shit. Um yeah, yeah. Big time. That's gotta hurt. But wait, there's more. Miller had gone into the trainer's room after pitching the final 3 outs of the A's four zip victory against the Houston Astros. But when he was reminded that he still had to get into the gym for a weightlifting session, he slammed his fist into the table out of frustration. Miller's agent originally told MLB.com that Miller injured his hand while awkwardly putting it on the training table, getting ready to exercise. But A's manager Mark Kotsay called him out. Mason's agent might have thought differently and made a statement of his own. Kotsay told reporters, "How we do things in this organization is to tell the truth." The trade talks immediately ended with Miller being fitted with a cast, leaving teams only to dream about what Miller could have looked like closing out games after striking out 70 batters in 42 third innings for the A's, limiting opponents to a .146 batting average. Number 3, Yusei Kikuchi from the Blu-rays. The Toronto left-hander was never being confused for Dave Stipe, but those high-end prospects they hope to get in return vanished with Kikuchi going 2-5 with a 6.87 ERA in the last 12 starts. Buy or sell, these teams still undecided. San Francisco Giants, they hired a new manager in Bob Melvin, spent $211 million in free agency, including the spring training signings of Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, and Jorge Soler, and now don't know whether to dump those same players to get under the $237 million competitive balance tax threshold or make a run for it. Jeez. They enter Saturday with a 50-55 record, but with mediocrity running supreme in the National League, are only 5.5 games out of the wild card spot. Okay. Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. Loading. Hold on. Yeah, where was it? Yes. Yes. They enter Saturday with I already read that. Rival GMs believe the Giants will sell, and besides their big 3 free agent pickups, will shop players like reliever Taylor Rogers, starter Alex Cobb, outfielders Michael Conforto and Mike Yastrzemski, and infielder Wilmer Flores. Cincinnati Reds, they are 50-53, just 4.5 games out of the wild card berth, and are trying to decide whether they are a legitimate contender or not. They are poised to buy, but are certainly built to sell with Jonathan India and Frankie Montas. Their ultimate fate may not be decided until Tuesday morning. Best pre-deadline deal so far. No one in all of baseball needed offensive help more than the Seattle Mariners, who lost 20 of 29 games and are in danger of wasting the finest pitching staff in baseball. This is a team that entered the weekend averaging 3.75 runs a game with a 28% strikeout rate and an MLB low 214 batting average. That would be the lowest since 1920. So what do they do? Trade for former All-Star outfielder Randy Arozarena without giving up any of their top assets. Arozarena had a dreadful start, hitting 158 in April and May, but since is hitting 290 with homers, 13 doubles, and a 904 OPS. And remember, he is a career 36 hitter with 11 home runs, 17 RBIs, and a 1.104 OPS in 33 postseason games. By the way, I just found out that he got traded to the Mariners. I'll talk about that in a future episode. Um, yeah, I'll talk about that in a future episode. Actually, yeah, I'll do a whole breakdown. Actually, so actually, I'm already there anyway. So yeah, yeah. So speaking of Rosarena, the Mariners are waiting a Rosarena arrival Friday, celebrated by scoring 8 runs in the first inning against the Chicago White Sox in their 10-zip rout. It was the most runs in Mariners scored in the first inning since July 30th, 2003, and included back-to-back homers. It was only the White Sox, but considering their sad sack offense, who would blame them for celebrating as if it was the opening ceremony in Paris. Um, we're going for it, said Mariners reliever Trent Thornton told the Seattle Times. We're here to win. We're here to win the whole damn thing. It's not just make the playoffs. This is going to be a team that can take care of business. Oh, yeah, and they may not be done. Even after acquiring reliever Yimi Garcia from the Blue Jays, searching for more offense. Best purely baseball trade. Philadelphia Phillies, Baltimore Orioles. The Phillies have been looking for a right-handed bat all year to platoon with Brandon Marsh and came up with a 2023 All-Star outfielder in Austin Hayes from the Orioles. The Orioles, after watching veteran closer Craig Kimbrell blow ninth inning leads in back-to-back nights, acquired veteran reliever Sir Anthony Dominguez in the deal. It will be quite the compelling storyline if these two teams meet in the World Series. All right, so best non-trade transaction: Boston Red Sox, they signed manager Alex Cora to a 3-year, $21.75 million contract extension last week, preventing him from entering the free agent market. Hmm. Hold on. Let me see. Yes, so Cora has done a magnificent job and is as responsible as anyone for the Red Sox, even being in the zip code of a pennant race. The fact that Cora chose to come back signals that the Red Sox plan to spend money and be a perennial contender again. There's a commitment from top to bottom, Cora told reporters, to keep pushing to get that trophy back here in Boston. Biggest stars who won't be traded. Number one, Tariq Scubo from the Detroit Tigers. If the Tigers ever are going to reach the postseason again, you win with this guy. Number two, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. from the Toronto Blue Jays. He wants to stay and is willing to sign a long-term extension to do so. Number three, Bo Bichette, also from the Blue Jays. He may be fleeing for the free agent door in a year, but if the Blue Jays are going to win a playoff game before this window closes, they need him one more season. Number four, Max Scherzer from the Texas Rangers, who, by the way, actually won the championship World Series. Um, he has a full no trade clause and never wanted to be traded. Now that the Rangers are winning, it assures he won't. Number five, Jackson Holiday of the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles didn't spend all of those years being the worst team in baseball to collect fabulous young talent and trade it all away. In it to win it, these teams went from sellers to buyers. Number one, starting with the New York Mets. The Mets were dead and buried in June with teams lining up to acquire all-star first baseman Pete Alonso and their surplus of starting pitching. They since have stopped they since have stopped stinking and have gone 26 to 24 since June 7th. Now they're like what? They're like 55, and I'll have to take a look at the standings. I'll have to take a look at the standings in a sec, actually. Number two, the Texas Rangers. They were given last rights a month ago. Just a 5.5% chance of reaching the playoffs, but tore off the life support tubes and have won 18 of their last 31 games and are going to give themselves every chance to repeat as World Series champions. Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox were supposed to finish last in the AL East. Alex Cora was supposed to be fleeing town, and new Red Sox GM Craig um, Breslow was supposed to be run out of town. Only a funny thing happened. The Red Sox started winning and never stopped. Number four, Houston Astros. The Astros opened the season with a 7-19 record and their glorious 7-year run of reaching the ALCS with four pennants and two World Series titles was going to end. The next thing you know, they make up 10 games in the month of July and are now in a virtual dead heat with the Mariners and poised to acquire starter on the trade market. All right, so mistakes were made sellers after all. Number one, Chicago Cubs. Weren't these guys supposed to win the NL Central, even run away with it? Instead, they may be baseball's biggest disappointment and are now waving the white flag. Shopping starter Jameson Talon, outfielder Cody Bellinger, infielder um, Nico Nico Horner, Nico Horner, and relievers Mark Leiter Jr. and Hector Neris. We just haven't played the way we should. Talent told reporters, "It's not like that caught me or probably anyone off guard. It stinks, but it is what it is. We've done it to ourselves." Tampa Bay Rays, they spoiled us by overarching year after year with five consecutive postseasons berth. Reality finally hit, and in one of the darkest days in franchise history, they officially surrendered by trading Randy Rosarena and Zach Eflin within 17 hours. Wow, 17 hours. It stinks right now to make these deals, Eric Neander, president of baseball operations, told reporters. The Rays, who traded Aaron um, Aaron Sevell and Phil Maton, who's with the Mets right now, earlier in July, saved more than $30 million in 2025 with the moves. Wow. Sorry about that, folks. I had to put it on mute because I had to refresh my Firefox app on my tablet. Where were we? Yes, where were we? Yes. So let's go to the best players everyone wants but won't be traded. So you have Ryan McMahon from the Colorado Rockies. The Yankees would love to get their hands on McMahon and play him at third base. He's an all-star and is having a monster season. But sorry, the Rockies love him. He's under contract for 3 more years, and they are not even listening to offers for him. Tariq Skubal from the Tigers. Who wouldn't want an AL Cy Young contender? The Tigers say they are only being responsible by listening, but the reality is they never had any intention of trading him. If nothing else, they were at least amused by the rumors and wild speculation. Executive most likely to surprise. Alex Anthopoulos from Atlanta. Come on, you really think he's going to let reigning MVP Ronald Acuna, who's injured by the way, and Ace Spencer Strider season-ending injuries ruin the season? You think he's going to let a six-game losing streak, their longest since 2017, ruin the season? You think playing under 500 since late April will ruin the season? Then you really don't know Anthopoulos. You can be assured he'll work his magic just as he did in 2021 when he grabbed three under the radar outfielders in July. And a few months later was celebrating the World Series title. What team will trade the most players? Chicago White Sox. Will the last person left on the south side please turn out the lights? So the White Sox could unload as many as seven players before the deadline. Garrett Crochet, Eric Fetty, which I've been hearing a little rumor in the air in regards to the Mets. Luis Robert Jr., Michael Kopech, Chris Flexen, Tommy Pham, former Met, former Diamondback, now with the White Sox. Um, Paul DeJong. Around the base paths, former All-Star catcher AJ Przinsky has quietly emerged as a serious candidate to manage the Chicago White Sox in 2025 if they dismiss manager Pedro Grifol after the season as expected. The Oakland A's have informed teams they may trade only reliever Luis Arceg at the deadline, keeping everyone else, including DH outfielder Brent Rooker. The White Sox are ton contenders in the AL Central, including the Minnesota Twins, which the Mets play next tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday. That they really would prefer not to trade within the division. The Twins and Guardians would love to get their hands on starter Eric Fetty. The Blue Jays had told teams in the past week they were not going to listen to offers for UC Kikuchi until he made his Friday start. Now they are listening. The Tigers plan on trading starter Jack Flaherty, who I've been hearing trade rumors to the Mets, but will remind teams they need to offer a better deal because they plan to offer Flaherty a qualifying offer after the season. The Orioles weren't ready to make a trade with the Phillies until closer Craig Kimbrough and the bullpen melted down, blowing a 6-0 lead to Miami, abruptly becoming much more aggressive on Friday. The Houston Astros are desperately trying to land a starter, focusing on Flaherty and Fetty, and would also love to acquire Rays infielder Isaac Paredes too. The Yankees have never been so happy to see the return of Giancarlo Stanton, who's scheduled to return Monday. Their cleanup hitters are batting 164 with a 258 slugging percentage since their June 15th slide. Just how dominant has Cleveland Guardians closer Emmanuel Claus been this year? The Guardians are 64-0 in their last 64 games when leading after eight innings. Blue Jays starter Chris Bassett telling reporters his feelings about the Blue Jays selling at the deadline. It just sucks. I don't think anyone thought this is what was going to happen. Teams sweating finances because of their reduced TV revenue, because of their RSN agreements being dropped or lowered, got a temporary lifesaver this week when the union agreed to permit Commissioner Rob Manfred, who's supposed to retire, to distribute about $75 million from their luxury tax proceeds to teams in need, maxing out at $15 million for individual teams. End quote. We believe this agreement should positively affect the player market by softening the impact of revenue declines, by increasing the number of clubs who have monies to spend, and by undermining the ability of clubs to weaponize recent developments in RSN markets, the union said in a memo to players, according to The Athletic. Fabulous career by Blue Jays center fielder Kevin Manaea, who plans to retire after a 12-year career winning 4 Gold Gloves. Watching him play on the other side, I think he was a guy who was easy to hate. Blue Jays manager John Schneider told reporters, because he took so many hits away and he was a pain in the ass. Oh shit. The Milwaukee Brewers got a dose of good news when All-Star outfielder Christian Yelich was prescribed rest and not season-ending back surgery. This is the 4th time since 2019 he has gone on the IL with back problems. Just like what JD Martinez went through. What is it about the Mets that Yankees ace Garrett has a 6.99 ERA against them and a 3.11 against the rest of the world? Tampa Bay Rays have a nice bidding war going between the Dodgers and Yankees for Paredes. The Minnesota Twins, who cut their payroll by about $35 million this year, are hamstrung in their pursuit of trade acquisitions unless they are able to dump a contract. The White Sox have no plans to pick up Eloy Jimenez. Jimenez's $16.5 million and $18.5 million club options after this season, concluding his 6-year $43 million contract extension that backfired for the Sox. Just how bad have the Sox been this year? They have already been swept 15 times. Damn. They ain't. Wow. Damn. The Angels are getting plenty of action on the starter Tyler Anderson. 2.91 ERA, but considering he is under contract at $13 million next season, the Angels realize that they won't get a quality starter to replace him at the same contract and could keep him. The best trade partners in the game these days are the Mariners and Marlins, who have made 15 deals with one another. Shortstop Tyler Fitzgerald became the first Giant player to hit 7 or more homers in 8 game span since Barry Bonds in 2004. The San Diego Padres played 8,205 games before producing a no-hitter. Now they have 2 in their last 582 games, with Dylan Cease throwing the second no-hitter this season and joining his roommate Joe Musgrove. Yes, Cease lives in Musgrove's guest house in Point Loma, California. It's hard to believe that the Athletics have scored 18 or more runs 3 times this year, including 20 against the Marlins. Only the Rockies have scored at least 18 runs in the game. Hey, buddy, can you spare an infielder? The Dodgers are currently without Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, and Miguel Rojas. No wonder they are in trade talks trying to acquire Nico Horner of the Cubs and or Luis Rengifo of the Angels. The Diamondbacks, who have the best record in the National League since June 19th, are looming larger in the NL wild card race. They not only acquired late inning reliever AJ Puck, but will have starters Merrill Kelly and Eduardo Rodriguez returning in August, joining Jordan Montgomery, who just returned to the rotation. They will be back in the postseason with a more dangerous team than one that won the pennant last year. Now that the Orioles have new ownership, they didn't blink trading for veteran starter Zach Eflin, who is owed the rest of his $11 million salary this year and $18 million in 2025. The Rays chipped in $1 million in the deal, only to cover Eflin's $1 million trade bonus. Eflin becomes their highest paid player in 2025. Like father, like son, Brandon Sabine, son of future Hall of Fame executive Brian Sabine, has been hired to become the first GM of the NBA Phoenix Suns G League affiliate. The Padres had been the Padres badly need another starter if they are going to reach the postseason. Consider this: three of their four starters are going to have a reduced workload down the stretch. Michael King, Matt Waldron, and Randy Vasquez have already eclipsed their career high in innings at the major league level this season, and veteran Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish remain sidelined. Damn, tough break. Tough break for the Mets ace Kodai Senga, who finally made his season debut on Friday after being out with a sore shoulder. He pitched 5 1/3 innings, but is now out for the season with a strained calf, which I will discuss that in a future episode. Stay tuned for that. Remember when the Yankees had the best record in baseball at 50-22? Since then, they've lost 23 of their last 33 games. The Astros, who balked at the idea of giving All-Star right fielder Kyle Tucker a long-term contract extension before he hits free agency in a year, are proving they can at least win without him. Tucker has been out since June 3rd with a bruised shin and have since gone 27-15. Congratulations to the Kansas City Royals, 57-47, who have already won more games before August than they did all of last season, 56-106. They are a role model for the White Sox and all teams who are hoping for a drastic turnaround in 2025. So that's basically what you can expect from the trade deadline. All right. I may do a recap of what went down with the trade deadline after it happens on Tuesday. So um, you know what I mean? So let's go to all right, we need to talk about we definitely need to talk about hang on a second here. Hold on a second. That's not what yeah, we definitely need to talk about what went down with Jorge Lopez. We need to talk about that too, man. Hold on 1 second. All right, let's head to the quick side bleacher bar. All right. We need to talk about the stupid stunt that Jorge Lopez did. All right. All right. All right. Yes, let's talk Jorge Lopez for a sec. He did something very stupid um that I saw a while back actually, which everybody's not gonna forget that. So here's what's going on with Jorge Lopez, man. Um, I know a lot of you may have not known what went down. So Jorge Lopez was designated for assignment by the struggling New York Mets one day after the reliever threw his glove into the stands following his ejection. A move made to send a message to the rest of the team that um, petulant behavior will not be tolerated. Um, and we have standards here. Mets manager Carlos Mendoza said before Thursday's series opener against Arizona. When you are not playing well, guys will show emotions. There's frustrations, but there's a fine line, and yesterday went over that line. Mendoza would not specify whether the decision was made over Lopez's behavior or the behavior coupled with the pitcher's post-game interview. And I don't regret it, Lopez said when asked about throwing his glove over the netting into the crowd as he walked off the field. I think I've been looking like the worst. I think I've been looking like the worst teammate probably in the whole fucking MLB. He doesn't sound remorseful. I tell you that much. He does not sound remorseful at all, man. I tell you this much. Look, man, and it's one thing to say that that the team's not doing great as far as losing games, but he wasn't doing his job either. He wasn't doing his job either. Yes, because of a bad call, because of the call that the umpire basically said that it was a ball instead of a strike. So, and another thing too, from what I read online is that regarding his son being a transplant or whatever case scenario may be, it's one thing that you're going through something like that or whatever case scenario may be, but at the same token, man, at the same token, I don't think anybody's gonna feel sorry for your ass though, man. After the stunt that you just did, like, come on, man, really? Like, what the hell were you thinking? What were you thinking?
Oh my God!
Yeah, it was a comment he addressed further the next day, posting on his Instagram story that he indeed called himself the worst teammate, and seeing earlier stories from some outlets that initially misquoted him as saying he was on the worst team made the decision worse. Um, I don't. It's not really believable, man. Not too many people believe this because the fact that the stunt that he pulled and the apology wasn't even remorseful. Even when Steve Gelbs asked him about what he said or whatever case scenario may be. I mean, like I said, man, nobody's gonna feel sorry for you, regardless of what you're going through. Like I said, regardless of what you're going through, whether it's about your son getting a transplant, whatever it may be, man. Like that's no fucking excuse, man. That's no fucking excuse, man. Like he's and thanks to the Mets to send a message by DFAing him, and of course getting traded to a different team anyway, man. So it is what it is, man. So later, Lopez expounded on those comments in a full statement on his in his Instagram account, in which he apologized to his teammates, coaches, fans, and front office. I feel that I let them down yesterday, both on and off the field, Lopez said. I also want to clarify my post-game remarks because I had no intention of disparaging the New York Mets organization. No shit, you actually did. During that interview, I spoke candidly about my frustrations with my personal performance and how I felt it made me the worst teammate in the entire league. Unfortunately, my efforts to address the media in English created some confusion and generated headlines that do not reflect what I was trying to express. I wish the team the best and hope that God continues to give me strength and guidance in my personal and professional life. Yeah, well, nobody feels sorry for your ass, though. Mets first baseman Pete Alonso said Lopez's post-game remark got misconstrued. I feel for him, and I hope he's doing okay mentally because I know he's gotten a lot of scrutiny for what people thought he said, Alonso explained. Mendoza said the team's decision was not made because of on-field performance. The 31-year-old Lopez was 1-2 with a 3.76 ERA and two saves in 28 appearances, among the most in the major leagues. He was always available, the manager said. This was more like we have standards here, and yesterday was one of those where we felt like we needed to do something. The New York began Thursday 22-33 despite baseball's highest payroll, and Mendoza said the decision was made to send a message to players. I'm talking about standards, right? He said. There's going to be times where you are going to see frustration for players, but there's a fine line, and behaviors like that we're not going to tolerate. New York has 7 days to trade or release Lopez. He got released, man, or to assign him outright to the minors if he goes unclaimed. He signed a $2 million 1-year contract with New York in December. His roster spot was filled by left-hander Danny Young, who was recalled from AAA Syracuse, Mendoza said when informed the decision. Lopez was respectful, but he didn't say much. An All-Star in 2022, Lopez spent time on the 15-day injured list with Minnesota last summer to address mental health after acting out frustration during mound struggles. I'm not going to get into his personal life, his personal situation, Mendoza said. Lopez gave up a 2-run homer to Shohei Ohtani late in a 10-3 loss to the Los Angeles Dodgers on Wednesday. Moments later, the right-hander was ejected for shouting at third base umpire Ramon De Jesus over an appeal ruling on Freddie Freeman's check swing. It's just emotions, the game, it just takes you there, Lopez says. Lopez pointed at De Jesus and yelled some more, then dropped the ball and walked off the mound with his jersey untucked. As he approached the Mets dugout, he tossed his glove high, 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 over the protective netting, and it landed a couple of rows deep in the stands where it was snagged by a fan. I didn't think I didn't think that I would ever see that in a baseball game. Alonso said, "It's unfortunate what happened." After Lopez's cap fell off his head as well, Lopez left it laying in the dirt in front of the dugout and headed for the bench. "I'm the way I am," he said. "I'm not afraid to be." Mets players held a team meeting after Wednesday's defeat, their 15th in 19 games. "I like it because it's important for them to let it all out. And yesterday, thought with them calling that meeting, it was needed for all of us," Mendoza said. New York entered with 19 wins in its last 23 games against the Diamondbacks. Arizona manager Torey Lavulo thought back to May 7, 2021, when Mets shortstop Francisco Lindor and second baseman Jeff McNeil appeared to scrap in a dugout tunnel after combining to misplay a grounder. One claimed the disagreement stemmed from seeing a rat, the other a raccoon. The Mets rally for a 5-4 win. "This team is dangerous and they are full of talent and experience," Lavolo said. "We're not going to take anything for granted. I remember being on this field and I thought I saw the shortstop and the second baseman basically getting into a fight in the dugout, and they ended up beating us pretty badly. Pretty bad that day." Um, damn. Yeah, you know what? Look, man. I'm not gonna stay on this shit for too long, man. But like I said, man, what he did, that stunt that he pulled was very disrespectful. And I know a lot of people are gonna be saying that he told the truth, but that's not really the way to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not really the way to do it. So, that's just my take on it, though, man. Good luck to the Jorge Lopez on a different team, anyway. Let's see. Let's see. All right, we got some injury reports. We got an injury that we gotta talk about regarding Sean Reid Foley. All right, this is crazy. This is crazy. Um, let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, no, no, no. All right, so let's talk about Reid Foley. Um, and according to Sports Illustrated, all right, so the New York Mets bullpen took a big hit on Saturday. Um, New York announced that they've placed right-handed reliever Reid Foley on the injured list due to a right shoulder impingement, which is the same injury that Kodai Singer struggled with. Um, per the Athletics, Will Salmon, however, there's a silver lining. As a result of Reid Foley's injury, the Mets have recalled reliever Danny Young from AAA Syracuse. Young has already made 9 appearances, 9 innings with the Mets in 2024, recording 12 strikeouts while allowing just one earned run. The 30-year-old lefty was optioned down to Syracuse following the Mets' June 12th game. While an option player is usually required to stay in the minors for at least 15 days, Reid Foley's injury allowed New York to recall Young before those 15 days were up. Young returning to the Mets will help balance out their bullpen. Before Young's recall to New York, the only active left-handed reliever on the roster was veteran Jake Diekman, who leads the team in appearances this season. Reid Foley has been a bright spot for the Mets bullpen this season, currently boosting um, a 1.66 ERA and 25 strikeouts in 23.1 innings. His ERA is the best by a Mets reliever this season. Minimum 10 innings pitched. Luckily for Mets fans, New York manager Carlos Mendoza doesn't seem too concerned about the severity of Reid Foley's shoulder injury. As of right now, he doesn't seem to be too concerned. Same thing with the trainers, Mendoza said of Reid Foley on Saturday per ESPN. Mendoza's hope is that Young can help hold down the fort until Reid Foley returns. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Um, all right. Okay. So, next. All right. So, all right. Isaac Paredes launched a 3-run homer to highlight a 4-run first inning, and the Tampa Bay Rays on held on for a 5-3 win against the New York Yankees in the opener of a 3-game series in St. Petersburg, Florida. Ahmed Rosario had 2 hits and scored a run for the Rays, who ended a 3-game skid. Tampa Bay right-hander Ryan Pipiot allowed 1 run and 4 hits in 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 7 and walked 3 on a career high, 101 pitches. Jason Adam protected a 1-run lead in the 8th before Pete Fairbanks tossed a scoreless ninth for the 15th save. Ben Rice homered for the Yankees, who lost for the 6th time in 7 games. Yankees left-hander Carlos Rendon, 9-7, dropped his 5th consecutive outing. The 2-9 All-Star got off to a rough start before recovering to complete 4 innings. He allowed 4 runs and 5 hits. As for the the Mets 7, Nationals 5. Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo combined for 2 homers and 6 RBIs, leading host New York past Washington. Lindor finished 3 for 4 with a walk, while teammate Jose Quintana, 4 and 5, gave up just 1 hit over 7 scoreless innings. Edwin Diaz got the final out for his 9th save. Right now, he got 12 saves now, man, so he's good. Pinch hitter El Demaro Vargas hit a 2-run homer in the 8th, and Kybert Ruiz added a 2-run shot in the 9th as the Nationals made a late comeback bid. Jake Irving, 7-7, allowed 6 runs on 9 hits in 6 innings. Guardians 9, Tigers 8. Josh Naylor drove in 4 runs, including the go-ahead run in the 10th inning, as the visiting Cleveland Guardians topped the Detroit Tigers 9-8 on Tuesday night. Cleveland ended Detroit's 4-game winning streak despite squandering a 6-0 lead. Naylor, who reached base 5 times, also supplied a 2-run homer. Jose Ramirez reached 6 times on 3 hits and 3 intentional walks, while scoring 2 runs and driving in another. Angel Martinez added his first major league homer. Scott Barlow picked up the win, and Emmanuel Clase notched his 28th save. Gio Urshela hit a 3-run homer. Colt Keith added a 2-run shot, and Justin Henry Malloy hit a solo home run for the Tigers. Will Vest 1-3 took the loss. Reds 12, Rockies 6. Rookie Reese Hines belted a 458-foot home run and fell a single shy of the cycle in his second career big league game to power Cincinnati past visiting Colorado. Hines added a triple and a double and became the first player in the majors since at least 1901 to record 5 extra base hits in his first 2 career games. Tyler Stevenson went deep and collected 3 hits for the Reds. Brenton Doyle connected for a pair of homers for the Rockies. Colorado starter Cal Quantrill was roughed up for 5 runs and 4 hits in 2 innings. Red Sox 12, A's 9. Wilyer Abreu had 4 RBIs, and Brian Bello struck out a career high 11 in 5 and 1/3 innings as Boston beat visiting Oakland. Abreu crushed a 3-run home run before Dom Smith followed with a solo shot to highlight the Red Sox 8-run second inning. Bello set a franchise record by recording his first 10 outs of the game via strikeout. He wound up yielding 5 runs on 9 hits and 2 walks. Zach Geloff was 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs, and he and Lawrence Butler both hit 3 run homers for the A's. Joey Estes was tagged for 8 runs on 7 hits over 1 and 2 third innings. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. I'm not even gonna continue all this, so let's just move on from there. Yeah. I'm glad the Mets are basically turning things around compared to the Yankees. Um oh, what's this about Carlos Mendoza being ejected? Let's talk about that. Hold up. I did watch one of the games where he got ejected. All right, hold on a second. Jeez. Hold on. Um all right, according to the New York Post, Carlos Mendoza was irate. The Mets manager was ejected from the team series opening 7-6 win over the Rockies Friday night at Citi Field after arguing with home plate umpire Jeremy Rehack. Infielder Jose Iglesias was called out on strikes by Rehack in the bottom of the 7th inning, with the Mets leading 7-3. Um, damn it. Oh boy, what the hell? All right, so the pitch, a curveball from Rockies pitcher Peter Lambert was high above the strike zone. Iglesias immediately showed his displeasure with the call before Mendoza began barking from the Mets dugout. Rehab subsequently tossed Mendoza and the Mets skipper, then came out of the dugout and gave the umpire an earful. I thought they got a few calls for strikes that I thought were balls, especially up in the zone. Mendoza said after the game that last one I thought was way out of the zone. But look, I understand they have a hard job, and Jeremy is really good at his job. They are human. I know they are working really hard behind the plate. Just felt like I needed to express my frustrations there. The City Field crowd cheered Mendoza as he argued and gave him an ovation as he eventually made his way back to the clubhouse. Iglesias had previously hit two solo homers earlier in the game. It was electric all night long. Iglesias said, "That's special. That's what it's all about." Yeah, you know, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't really worry about that though, man. You know what I mean? I mean, he Iglesias did what he needed to do, man, to help out the team. Forget the damn strikeout, man. You know what I'm saying? Forget about that shit. Speaking of which, um, so one of the games, if I actually could actually, um, put that to, hang on a second here. So wait a minute here. So one of the games, Jose Iglesias wasn't there due to a flu-like symptom. Okay, so let's dive into that. Let's dive into it here. All right. So one of the games, for those you may not know, um, so Jose Iglesias wasn't in one of the games because he had the flu. Let me see if I can find that. See if I can find that. Um, yeah, all right. We're gonna go to. Hang on a second. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, um, yeah. As I said before, Jose Iglesias was not in one of the games because um, he had flu-like symptoms. Actually, let me see. Where is that? Yeah. So that Thursday, which was what, last week? Yeah, last week. So Iglesias is out of the lineup for Thursday's game against the Nationals due to an illness. Stigos of Sportsnet New York reports. So that's what SNY stands for, Sportsnet New York. Okay, gotcha. Though he had been expected to start Thursday against Southpaw Mackenzie Gore, the right-handed hitting Iglesias apparently felt ill during Wednesday's 6-2 win and required an IV after cramping up following the game. Iglesias is apparently still feeling under the weather Thursday, so the Mets will let him rest in the series finale while Jeff McNeil steps in at second base. So yeah. Of course he is feeling better. He is feeling better actually. So um yeah. That's a bit of a recap, and I will talk more about Jose Iglesias' OMG song and the man who created the OMG signs in the future. So I will talk about that in the future as well. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Reed Garrett. Reed Garrett. We haven't heard from him in a while because he is on the injured list as well. So let's get into it. Okay. All right. Reed Garrett. Damn. I thought I had. Wait. Okay. Reed Garrett's injury. Hold on a minute. All right. I want to look this up too. All right. Okay. So let's get into Reed Garrett's injury. Um, for those who may not know what's going on. So, and this is according to the folks from SNY. The Mets received good news about reliever Reed Garrett. Um, Reed Garrett's right elbow injury, after having multiple doctors confirm an MRI showed no ligament damage to the right hander, according to manager Carlos Mendoza. It just showed inflammation of the nerve. It just showed inflammation of the nerve, so ligaments are good, Mendoza said after the Mets completed a three-game sweep of the Washington Nationals on Thursday afternoon. Garrett is still facing somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks before he's a pitcher for us again, Mendoza said. But the news is still being treated as a huge relief, as the Mets seem very concerned this could have been a potentially season-ending injury to one of their bullpen's most dispendable arms. I got the news this morning, and then after the game confirmed that nerve is good. It's just the inflammation. It's a huge sense of relief for all of us, Mendoza said. Garrett last pitched on Tuesday night, allowing a double, a home run, and a walk in 0-2 of an inning before landing on the injured list in the following day with right elbow inflammation. Tuesday night was rough, Garrett said from the Mets clubhouse after Thursday's win. When I got here on Wednesday, I was worried, concerned, but to get the news we got it huge. We got it's huge. I'm pumped. I'm happy that nothing's wrong, really. Obviously, we have some stuff that we can clean up, but I'm happy that everything's okay. The 31-year-old explained that he had never experienced anything like he did Tuesday when his hand was cramped up when he was pitching. I didn't really necessarily have a feel for the ball, Garrett said. It was just one of those things where I knew something was off and it didn't feel right. Obviously, it turned into a stressful outing that kind of snowballed the effect of it. Mendoza explained that the delay in delivering the news that was related to the club wanting to make sure multiple people took a look at him, referring to his pregame comments about having special doctors check out Garrett's MRI before an announcement was made. Obviously, to come and get the MRI and have a bunch of people look at it and say everything's okay, that's a huge relief, Garrett said, adding that he has started undergoing treatment that has started to get the ball rolling the right way. The right-hander said the next day, few days will determine the next steps he takes in his rehab and if he needs a period of not throwing. In his 36 appearances on the year, Garrett has pitched to a 3.64 ERA and 1.429 whip in 42.0 innings with 63 strikeouts and 22 walks. That's some good news to hear. That's some good news to hear, though, you know. That's some good news to hear. Let's see. Let's see. All right, let's talk about the meeting that the Mets have, and then I'll talk about Sean Manaea's amazing finishes, amazing finishes, and how he became the player of the game. All right. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Um, let's see. Uh, all right. So the Mets hold down a meeting. All right. So things have not been going as planned for the Mets of late. So the offense has struggled to find any sort of consistency. Hang on a minute here. Yeah, any sort of consistency. And when they do come through, the defense has been brutal, or the bullpen has blown late inning leads. Things finally reached the boiling point on Wednesday afternoon as the group decided to hold a players-only meeting after their third straight loss to the Los Angeles Dodgers in the series finale at Citi Field. It was Francisco Lindor's idea to call the meeting, but numerous players were said to have stepped up and spoke about what they could do to turn things around and get through this tough stretch. I and he said, in quote, I just felt like it was the time, Lindor said. We needed to talk to look each other in the eye, everybody. I don't care if you have 1 day in the big leagues or 14 years. We're all teammates, and what matters is winning. I feel like we needed to talk, to look at each other in the eye, to say we need to get it done. Over the past few weeks, a lot has been made about this team and their process this season. Comments from around the clubhouse have indicated that they are committed to sticking with the process and the results will follow. But with things continuing to spiral, part of the message was about being able to adjust that process. A lot of us have had success doing certain things, and most of us are not having success right now. So we have to look ourselves in the mirror and say, am I doing the right thing? The door said. Am I doing everything I've got to be better, to represent the New York Mets and to go out there and win ball games, because that's all that matters. If you are, continue to stay in the process. But if you're not, you have to make adjustments to the process and change it up. The Mets now have to turn around less than 24 hours after another brutal loss and an overall embarrassing day at the ballpark and open a 4 game set with the Arizona Diamondbacks. It remains to be seen exactly what type of effect the meeting will have on the field, but the feeling around the locker room afterwards was that it was a productive step as they look to turn things around. It was just positive things to focus on and things to work on and just the mindset we want moving forward. What it settled on was just focusing on the process and keeping a positive mindset through that process. And Nimmo said, we take a lot of pride in winning, Lindor added. When you are not winning and you are looking for the results, you are not getting those results. It's only natural to start searching. With that being said, finding to be a new day and a new opportunity to be successful, to hold onto what you have right now, I think that's going to help us. Wow. You know, shouts to Francisco Lindor for holding down the meeting, man. Yeah, it's a big step what he it's a big step what he did though, man, to turn things around. I think everybody should actually, everybody should be proud of him, man. Even though he had a slow start to the season or whatever. I mean, come on. I mean, any player any player is gonna have a slow start. Like, come on, there's no way in the hell that you are an athlete in baseball and you never had a slow start. That's not possible, man. You know what I'm saying? That is not possible, man. So I want to, yeah, yeah. I want to, I want to make some noise for Francisco Lindor for holding down the meeting and the way they turn things around. Now the Mets are like what 55, and yeah, I'll look that up right now. So they got 55 wins, and I think last time I checked, it's like um what is it? You know what? I'll look at it. Um I'll look at it when I get a chance. Anyway, let's make some noise for Francisco Lindor for turning things around with that team meeting. All right. Let's see. All right. Before we even get to hold on a second. Where was I? Before we get to Sean Manaea's being player of the game, let's take a look at the power rankings. Let's take a look at the power rankings. Before I forget. Um Hold on a second. All right. Power rankings 2024. Here we go. All right, let's see. So let's see. And this is from the Bleacher Report, actually. Um, okay. So the 2024 MLB season has nearly reached its unofficial midway point, with the All-Star break now just 1 week away, which already happened. I will talk about that in the future with the recap. So All Star All Star break now just 1 week away, and that means the trade deadline is right around the corner. There will be plenty of time to dig into all the trade rumblings in the coming weeks, which I talked about that briefly. Well, yeah, briefly. But for now, we turn our attention to the upcoming Midsummer Classic with this week's version of our weekly power rankings, along with the updated look at where all 30 teams stand and their performance last week. You'll find a quick rundown of each team's representatives for this year's All-Star game. Actually, yeah. Keep in mind these rankings are a fluid process, with teams rising and falling based on their recent performance relative to where they landed in the previous week's rankings. With the line between buyers and sellers starting to become more clear, the coming weeks will have a huge impact on how the remainder of the season plays out. Let's see. So let's all right. So Chicago White Sox, 26 and 66. Um, Previous rank 29. Last week 1-2 at Cleveland. 1-2 at Miami. All Stars SP Garrett. Um, Garrett Crochet. It's no surprise that Garrett Crochet, 19, 19 I don't even know what GS stands for. 308, excuse me, 3.08 ERA, 0.97 whip, 146 strikeouts, 105.1 IP, is the lone all-star pick for the White Sox, though fellow rotation mate Eric Fetty also had a solid case for a nod. Both pitchers will likely be on the move ahead of the trade deadline. 29, Colorado Rockies, 32 and 58. Previous ranked 30 last week, 2-2 versus um, Milwaukee, 2-1 versus KC. All Stars, third baseman Ryan McMahon, in the third season of a 6-year, $70 million contract. Ryan McMahon, um, 88 G. Not sure what G stands for. 272, 347, 454, 33 XBH, 14 home runs, 45 RBIs. Is having the best all-around season of his career and is a worthy first-time All-Star. The front office intends to hold on to him at the deadline, but the 2023 All-Star catcher, Alias Diaz, could be on the move in a thin market for catchers. Number 28, Miami Marlins, 32-58, ranked 27. Last week 0-3 versus Boston, 2-1 versus CWS. All-star right-handed pitcher, Tanner Scott, reliever Tanner Scott, might be the most obvious trade candidate on this year's market with free agency looming this off season, and the Marlins open for business on the heels of the Luis Arias deal. How many other players will be on the move? Number 27, Los Angeles Angels, 37-52, power rank 25. Last week 0-3 at Oakland, 1-2 at Chicago. All-Stars Tyler Anderson. Mike Trout's potential return later this month gives Angels fans something to look forward to, but this is quickly shaping up to be another lost season. A bounce back season from All-Star Tyler Anderson has turned his three-year, $39 million contract into an asset, as he is more than just a rental for teams looking to add a veteran arm. Number 26, Oakland Athletics, 34-58. Previous rank 28. Last week 3-0 versus Los Angeles Angels. 1-2 versus Baltimore. All-Stars right-handed pitcher Mason Miller. It will be fun to watch Mason Miller turn it loose in the All-Star game, with his fastball averaging 100.8 miles per hour and his slider generating a 46.5% whiff rate. Will any contender meet the lofty asking price on him or slugger Brett Rooker at the trade deadline? Number 25, Chicago Cubs, 42-49. Previous rank 23. Last week 1-2 versus Philadelphia. 2-1 versus Los Angeles Angels. All-Stars, excuse me, Shata Imanaga. The Cubs halted a string of 4 straight series losses by taking 2 of 3 from a bad Angels team at Wrigley Field over the weekend, but they are still looking for their first winning streak of more than 2 games since April. Rookie Shata Imanaga has rebounded with back-to-back quality starts since getting shelled for 11 hits and 10 earned runs on June 21st. Number 24, Cincinnati Reds, 42-48, previous rank 22. Last week, 3-0 at New York Yankees, 0-3 versus Detroit. All-Stars shortstop Ellie De La Cruz, following up a 3-game sweep at Yankee Stadium by getting swept by the Tigers at home, is the Reds' season in a nutshell, as they have shown flashes of taking that next step forward, but have struggled to build any sort of momentum. The All-Star game was made for guys like Ellie De La Cruz, who can put on a show in a variety of ways. Number 23, Detroit Tigers, 42-48. Previous rank 26. Last week, 1-2 Minnesota, 3-0 at Cincinnati. All-Stars outfielder Riley Green and Tariq Skubal. The Tigers are are one of the more compelling teams to watch leading up to the trade deadline, as they could hold on to their pieces and try to push for a winning record, or could cash in rental starter Jack Flaherty, who would be one of the most sought after arms on the market. Left-hander Tariq Scobo will be a candidate to start the All-Star game for the American League, while Riley Green was also a deserving first-time selection. Number 22, Washington Nationals, who the Mets swept 42-48. Previous ranked 21. Last week 2-2 versus New York Mets. 1-2 versus St. Louis. All-Stars, shortstop CJ Abrams. Is not only the Nationals' lone All-Star pick, but he is a deserving selection in a deep field of National League shortstops. How long before outfielder James Wood is also playing at the Midsummer Classic after he went 8 for 25, one double, one home run, and 6 RBI in his first 7 games in the majors. Number 21, Pittsburgh Pirates, 42-47, previous ranked 19. Last week, 1-2 versus St. Louis, 1-2 versus New York Mets. Outfielder Brian Reynolds and Paul Skeens. The Pirates might not be ready to contend quite yet, but they have become one of baseball's most exciting teams thanks in large part to the arrival of Paul Skeens. Who earned his spot at the All-Star game after debuting on May 11th. Outfielder Brian Reynolds is an All-Star for the second time and living up to his 8-year, $106.8 million extension. Number 20, Texas Rangers, 42-48. Previous rank, 24. Last week, 1-2 versus San Diego, 3-0 versus Tampa Bay. All-Stars, second baseman Marcus Semien, right-handed pitcher Kirby Yates. Only 2 All-Star picks for the defending World Series champions, as their road to defending their title has been a rocky one so far this year. Second baseman Marcus Semien is an All-Star for the third time, while closer Kirby Yates is back for the first time since 2019 when he was a member of the San Diego Padres. Number 19, Toronto Blue Jays, 41-49, previous ranked 20. Last week, 1-3 versus Houston, 2-1 at Seattle. All-Stars first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The Blue Jays continue to do just enough to reside in the gray area between keeping their roster intact for a second half, pushing and blowing things up with a deadline fire sale. Slugger Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was voted to start the All-Star game at first base, and he is the team's lone representative. Number 18, Tampa Bay Rays, 44-46. Previous ranked 15. Last week, 2-1 at Kansas City, 0-3 at Texas. All-Stars, third baseman Isaac Paredes. The Rays shipped out starter Aaron Seaval in a deal with the Milwaukee Brewers, and they will likely approach the deadline with an opportunistic eye and a mix of buying and selling to maximize their limited payroll flexibility. Getting swept by the Texas Rangers doesn't help their case as buyers. Third baseman Isaac Paredes is a deserving first time All-Star, and he has quietly developed into a consistent middle of the order power threat. Number 17, San Francisco Giants, 44-47. Previous rank 16. Last week 2-1 at Atlanta, 1-2 at Cleveland. Outfielders Heliot Ramos and Logan Webb. Workhorse ace Logan Webb is finally an All-Star for the first time in his career, and he will be joined by rising star Heliot Ramos, who has delivered a post-hype breakout season after years as one of the team's top prospects. The Giants sit just 3.5 games back in the NL wildcard standings. So the coming weeks could make or break their season. Number 16, the New York Mets, 44-44. Right now, they're at 55. They had 55 wins and 49 losses, if I remember. Yeah. Previous rank 17 last week, 2-2 at Washington, 2-1 at Pittsburgh. Obviously, Pete Alonso talked about Pete Alonso being an all-star and how, I did talk about how there was a snub with Brandon Nimmo and Francisco Lindor. The Mets have managed to put a 19-month of May in the rear view to climb back into playoff contention, and an upcoming stretch of games against the Nationals, Rockies, and Marlins could put them in a position to consider buying at the deadline. They are buyers right now, actually. They did beat the Braves first two games, actually, and they did lose to them 2 games, so they actually got the split. Otherwise, first baseman Pete Alonso is their top trade chip with free agency awaiting this offseason. How many times do I have to tell you folks out there, man? There's no way Pete Alonso is going to be traded, okay? What he's going to do is play this game out, play this season off. It's free agency until further notice. Otherwise, and if you didn't hear from Pete Alonso, who basically pleaded his case to say that he wants to stay here, he doesn't want to get traded or anything like that. So you know what I'm saying. And I don't think he wants to be traded. If he got traded, it would be a devastating blow to all the Mets fanatics out there, not just in New York, but all over, including UK and all over the international spots. So there you have it, right there. To be determined. We gotta wait and see. Number 15, Arizona Diamondbacks, 45-45. Previous rank 18. Last week, 2-1 at Los Angeles Dodgers, 2-1 at San Diego. All-star second baseman Ketel Marte. Ugh. Yeah. With a 2013 record since since the start of June, the D-backs have clawed their way back to a 500 record after a poor start to the season. Few teams have more potential for in-house improvement as a result of injuries and sluggish starts from several key players, and they could again be right in the thick of the NL wildcard picture. Ketel Marte is an all-star starter for the second time, as he was also part of the NL starting lineup in 2019. Number 14, Houston Astros, 46-44. Previous rank 12. Last week, 3-1 at Toronto, 1-2 at Minnesota. All-star Jose Altuve, outfielder Kyle Tucker, Designated hitter Jordan Alvarez. Remember when we were talking about the Astros as potential sellers back in May with a 21-11 record and plus 46 run differential since the beginning of June. They have climbed back into the AL West picture and now seem far more likely to be looking for additions. According to MLB.com, pointed out that three All Stars is the fewest the Astros have has since 2016, with Jose Altuve, Kyle Tucker, and Jordan Alvarez making up this year's contingent. Number 13, St. Louis Cardinals, 47-42, which some people hate, of course. Previous ranked 14 last week, 2-1 at Pittsburgh, 2-1 at Washington. All Stars right-handed pitcher Ryan Helsley. The Cardinals have gone 11-5 in their last 16 games to go from one game below 500 to second in the NL wildcard standings. Veteran starter Sonny Gray um, ranks ranks among the biggest NL All-Star snubs, though closer Ryan Helsley was the right pick if the team was only going to have one representative. Number 12, Seattle Mariners, 49-43, previous ranked 10. Last week, 1-2 versus Baltimore, 1-2 versus Toronto. Logan Gilbert, the All-Star All-Star. Yeah, so the Mariners have suffered six straight series losses, and their lead atop the AL West standings has shrunk from 8.5 games to just 2 games over a hard charging Houston Astros team. With a starting rotation that ranks third in the majors with a 3.45 ERA, they had a number of All-Star worthy arms, but Logan Gilbert has been the best of the bunch. Number 11, Kansas City Royals, 49-43, previous ranked 6 last week, 1-2 versus Tampa Bay, 1-2 at Colorado. Um, so Salvador Perez, Bobby Witt Jr., Seth Lugo, and Cole Ragans. The Royals have stumbled a bit since entering June with a 35-24 record and a pair of series losses to teams slotted outside the top 15 in this week's rankings is enough to bump them out of the top 10. Bobby Witt Jr., Seth Lugo, and Cole Ragans are all first time All Stars, while Salvador Perez is making his ninth trip to the Midsummer Classic. Number 10, San Diego Padres, 49-45, previous ranked 9, last week 2-1 at Texas, 1-2 versus Arizona. Luis Arias, Jackson Morrell, Jerickson Profar, and Fernando Tatis Jr., and Robert Suarez. Having 5 All Stars while hovering around the 500 marks speaks to a Padres team with no shortage of talent, but inconsistent play so far this season. The entire starting outfield of Jackson Morrell, um, Jerickson Profar, Fernando Tatis Jr. is part of the NL All Star team, though Tatis will not play in the game. Trade pickup Luis Arias and closer Robert Suarez around out the 5 selections. Number 9, Boston Red Sox, 49-40, previous ranked 13, last week 3-0 at Miami, 2-1 at New York Yankees. Third baseman Rafael Devers, outfielder Jaron Duran, and Tanner Hoke. Since splitting a 4-game series with the lowly White Sox in mid-June, the Red Sox have gone 16-7 in their last 23 games, including a pair of series wins over the rival Yankees. Slugger Rafael Devers is an all-star for the third time, while Jaron Duran and Tanner Hoke are first-time selections. Number 8, Atlanta Braves, which a lot of people hate, of course. 49-39, previous rank 11, last week 1-2 versus San Francisco, 2-1 versus Philadelphia. DH Marcell Ozuna, Chris Sale, and Ronaldo Lopez. Who would have guessed Marcell Ozuna, Chris Sale, and Ronaldo Lopez would be Atlanta's All-Star representatives when when the season started? After picking up a series win over the Philadelphia Phillies, they are back to 10 games over 500 and looking like a top-tier contender once again, even without Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider. Number 7, Milwaukee Brewers, 53-38, previous ranked 7, last week 2-2 at Colorado, 1-2 at Los Angeles Dodgers. William Contreras and outfielder Christian Yelich. The Brewers have held at least a share of the NL Central League since April 30th, and it looks like they will have to hold off the St. Louis Cardinals in the second half. A resurgent Christian Yelich and catcher William Contreras were both voted to start the All-Star game, while breakout second baseman Bryce Terang was a notable NL snub. Number 6, New York Yankees, 55-37, previous ranked 3, last week 0-3 versus Cincinnati, 1-2 versus Boston. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Clay Holmes. The Yankees have not won consecutive games since June 12th, and the cushion they built in these rankings during a 49-21 start to the year is quickly evaporating into what could be a steady slide. Superstars Aaron Judge and Juan Soto were no-brainer picks by the fans to start the All-Star game, while closer Clay Holmes is helping his cause with a strong contract year. Number 5, Minnesota Twins, 51-39, previous rank 8, last week 2-1 versus Detroit, 2-1 versus Houston. All-Stars Carlos Correa. The Twins now have 5 straight series wins under their belts after a strong showing at Target Field last week, and they will close out the first half on the road against the White Sox and Giants. Shortstop Carlos Correa is performing much better in the second season of his 6-year, $200 million contract after a lackluster 2023 campaign. Excuse me. Little side note, the Minnesota Twins are going to be at Citi Field playing against the New York Mets tomorrow, 7:10, Tuesday, 7:10, and I believe an afternoon game at 1:40 on SNY. All right, check your local listings. All right, so Los Angeles Dodgers, number 4, 55-34, previous ranked 5, last week 1-2 versus Arizona, 2-1 versus Milwaukee. Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow. Only the Phillies have more All-Stars than the 6 the Dodgers are sending to Globe Life Field next week. Though Mookie Betts will not be active for the game, Shohei Ohtani is the only starter from that group, while Will Smith, Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez all hit their way to reserve spots. Ace Tyler Glasnow is finally an All-Star for the first time in his career. Number 3, Cleveland Guardians, 56-32, previous rank for last week, 2-1 um versus oh boy versus CWS. I don't know what that is. 2-1 versus San Francisco. Josh Naylor, Jose Ramirez, Stephen Kwan, David Fry, and Emmanuel Clase. The Guardians have occupied the number 3 spot in these rankings multiple times this year, but they have yet to climb higher, so they have a chance to enter the All-Star break in a peak position with a strong showing this week. It's nice to see a smaller market club send 5 players to the All-Star game, with both Jose Ramirez and Stephen Kwan voted to start. Jose Naylor and Emmanuel Clase were easy picks for reserve spots, while utility man David Fry is far and away the unlikeliest, excuse me, 2024 All-Star, but also a deserving choice. Number 2, Philadelphia Phillies, 58-32, previous rank 1. Last week, 2-1 at Chicago, 1-2 at Atlanta. Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm, Trey Turner, Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler, Jeff Hoffman, and Matt Strawn. With Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm, and Trey Turner all voted to start the All-Star game, the Phillies already had their MLB leading 7 All-Star locked in before the reserves were announced. It's not surprising to see 4 pitchers make the cut from a staff that leads the majors with an ERA, and props to the player vote for recognizing how good Jeff Hoffman and Matt Strom have been in support of a terrific rotation led by Ranger Suarez and Zach Wheeler. And number 1, Baltimore Orioles, 57-33, previous ranked 2, last week 2-1 at Seattle, 2-1 at Oakland. Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, and Corbin Burns. The Orioles are finally on the other side of the daunting stretch of the schedule where they face the Braves, Phillies, Yankees, Astros, Guardians, Rangers, and Mariners, and they still have a 3-game lead in the AL East standings. Young homegrown stars Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson figure to be staples at the All-Star game, while Corbin Burns has lived up to his status as staff ace. Jordan Westberg, Ryan Mountcastle, Ryan O'Hearn, and Craig Kimbrough all had a solid case to join them on the AL roster. Okay, so there you go. These are the power rankings. And now we are going to go to the players of the week. Actually, players of the day, actually. Well, players of the week, players of the game. I mean, whatever. So this is from Mesmerize Online, the website. So the Mets came out on the positive side of this week, finishing with a 4-3 record on the road against the Washington Nationals and Pittsburgh Pirates. The team had a bit of a roller coaster week, which included 2 late game go-ahead hits with 2 outs that secure victories, while also getting blown out 14-2 on Friday in Pittsburgh. Although they managed to have a solid week, they now trail the San Diego Padres and St. Louis Cardinals by 2.5 games for the third wild card spot in the National League. Right now, they're in second place in the wild. Well, right now they're in second place. Well, actually, they are in fourth place on the wild card because they just lost to the Braves today. So anyway, offensive player of the week, Francisco Lindor, widely deserved. Lindor may have been snubbed from this year's All-Star team, but he has continued to impress on both sides of the ball, especially when hitting out of the leadoff spot. He capped off the week for the Mets by lining a two-run go-ahead single into left field in the top of the ninth inning with the bases loaded and two outs off Aroldis Chapman. It was one of the more clutch moments Lindor has experienced in a Mets uniform and comes at a time when the when the team is knocking on the door of a four-player spot in a wide open National League wildcard race. With the All-Star break and trade deadline quickly approaching, games like these can turn around the outlook on the season. This week, Lindor collected 8 hits and 29 at-bats, good for a 275 batting average. While slugging 2 home runs and 2 doubles, he accounted for 6 runs and 5 RBIs throughout his 7 games. He also made a spectacular play on Saturday when he stretched out to make a diving stop while securing the force out at first base. Pitcher of the week, Sean Manaea. Manaea enjoyed 2 strong performances this week, and if it weren't for his 7 shutout innings on Sunday, Lindor might not have had the opportunity to play the hero. The veteran left-hander matched zeros with Luis Ortiz as both pitchers held the opposing lineup in check. Despite their stellar performances, neither pitch picked up a win to their name, only earning a no decision apiece. Across 13 innings in 2 starts, Manaea allowed just 1 earned run, 7 hits, and 5 walks while striking out 11 and giving up 1 earned run. His earned run average on the season is down to 3.43, making his $14.5 million base salary well worth it. One of the reasons he's seen success in a Mets uniform has been his ability to keep opposing hitters in the ballpark, only allowing 7 home runs through 89 and 1/3 innings in 2024. In his last 2 seasons, where he has pitched 150-plus innings, he allowed 29 long balls in 2022 with the San Diego Padres and 25 in 2021 with the Oakland A's. Honorable mention, Jose Quintana. Quintana pitched a gem on Thursday's 1-0 loss to Washington Nationals, tossing 7 shutout innings and picking up the no decision across his 7 innings of work. He allowed 4 hits and 3 walks while striking out only 1 Nationals hitter. While the modern day game has seen strikeouts increase at an alarmingly high rate, Quintana has been able to shut down opposing offenses lately via pitching to contact and staying ahead in the count. It's a craft that is sparingly, seen in these times and should be appreciated when done. Quintana hasn't been perfect this season, but has been very reliable recently. He's allowed only 3 earned runs over his last 4 starts, stretching across 23 and 1/3 innings, solidifying himself into this current Mets rotation. All right. All right. That's one of the accomplishments that Sean Manaea has done actually. So there it is. Hold on a second. All right. All right. Let me see if I have any more things to talk about. Yeah, I think that's it, man. I think that's it. I think that's it, though. Yeah, I covered everything. All right. All right. What do you say we wrap up here right now, man? Um, into this last segment, which is stream choices on the go, man. Let's go. I want y'all listeners at home to do me a favor. Follow Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast on Threads, Instagram, alongside with my other podcast shows that I do, which is the review show, Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, and Off the Meat Rat Chains NY podcast, which is Off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast. And also, you can follow me on the gram, which is G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. So you'll be in the know on when I'll be on Instagram live and stuff. But at the time being, since I'm out of service with the other Android tablet, I have to get a new tablet actually to actually do an Instagram live and stuff with all the pop up with my with the situation I just mentioned earlier. So there you have it right there. And also if you like to get to know me and all that great stuff right there, you can do that by going to the link in bio that says linktree / excellent fun vibrant talks pod. All right. There's going to be a list of streaming platforms that are included. So I'm going to go over them right here, right now. So, and I will gladly give you some Mets fanatics who also have a podcast in just a sec. So, starting with Odyssey, Audible, Amazon Music, Breaker, Bullhorn FM, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Overhaul FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podo Polo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podvine, Snip, Spotify for podcasters, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, newly added Fountain, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the app where you can listen to music, radio, and podcast episodes for free. You don't need a debit card or credit card to download iHeartRadio. And be sure to subscribe to the streaming platforms that I just mentioned. And of course, do the same with YouTube. Make sure you grab the subscribe button for me on the sports YouTube channel page, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast. And of course, enable alerts so you be notified on when each podcast recording will be on the air, including live episode podcasts. So you don't miss out on the live episodes whatsoever. You can even listen to this while you are either on your way to work or coming home from work. And you can even listen to it while you're on your jog or whatever. And and you can also leave a like and a comment alongside with the sports topics that's been discussed in today's episode, which is called Panic Mode. All right. So this is pertaining to the injuries, what Jorge Lopez did, and all that other crazy stuff in between. And of course, you can listen, stream, and watch these episodes. Um, Episodes will be dropped Wednesdays and Thursdays. All right. So be on the lookout for new episodes as you add the podcast to your playlist. And of course, like I said, enable alerts for new episodes. That's going to be dropping. And you can tell a friend to another friend, spread the word. Word of mouth is important. And of course, be sure to share the podcast link, linktree / excellent fun vibrant talks pod, alongside with your friends, your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, people you're cool with from work or anywhere else where you meet new people. All right, that's gonna do it for. All right, before I wrap up here, I want to provide y'all with some with some YouTubers who are also covering the Mets whatsoever. So let me just go through a rundown of the list. So of course, starting with Shays and Sons podcast, Till Mets Do His Part, Subway to Shade podcast by Anthony Rivera, who is also on the New York Mets Evening Brew podcast on the Morning Brew Sports Network. Of course, be sure to subscribe over there as well. Of course, be sure to subscribe to Ryan Finkelstein's Locked On Mets podcast. Mets Stuff podcast by Mark and James. Let's see. Yes, Empire State of Baseball, Shea Station. Believe in the Mets, CP's Mets and Knicks, Meet at the Apple, Future of Flushing podcast, Trevor May Baseball Mayday, The Sick Podcast, Mets Magic by Jake Brown, Mets Weekly, The Mets Podcast, We Gotta Believe, and of course, The Call Up, an MLB Prospect podcast. All right. Be sure to subscribe to those YouTubers that's covering baseball, including the Mets and other prospects in the farm system and everywhere else. You get your Mets news and topics involving trades, involving prospects and all that great stuff right there. So there you go, right there. All right. I'm gonna be out of here right now, man, and I'll see y'all next time in the next episode. Thank you very much for listening and tuning in and rocking with me on today's episode titled Panic Mode. Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. And of course, find your niche. Be confident in what you do creatively, mentally, physically, and spiritually, whether you are in the podcasting world, whatever career field you're trying to do creatively, be sure to do this on a consistency basis. No matter what happens in life, don't give up on your goals and dreams. And of course, you have to validate yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you but you. And also, if you plan on starting a podcast, all you need to do is get yourself some key important equipment. All you need is a laptop, a microphone, headphones, and of course, And of course, don't let anybody tell you not to call it a podcast. If you're doing it on YouTube, it still counts as a podcast because last time I checked, a podcast is considered media. But the difference is it's for the internet. It's for the internet. So there you have it right there, man. So be consistent, be confident in what you love to do. Don't let nobody stop you. And of course, remember everybody's path in their podcast journey or whatever journey you're going through. There's no guidebook to do this. There's no guidebook to do this. You know what I'm saying? Just be yourself, be you, and continue your success. All right. I'm out of here. Peace and one love. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I will circle back on the recap of what went down with the trade deadline and everything else in between. I'll see y'all on the flip side. Be sure to stay hydrated with water and be sure to get yourself some Gatorade for electrolytes so you can get energized. All right. Peace and one love. Good night, everybody.